What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catchpolia sitting on the couch making some money investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. Today I'm checking out a new site. It's called Realbricks. Um, this is one that I actually don't know. I think that Grok actually told me about this, the X's AI, when I was asking it to tell me some stuff. I always use that tool to see if I can learn more stuff about a subject that I don't know. And I asked, like, what are the best fractional real estate investing sites? And this is one that it mentioned it, and I don't remember ever hearing about it. Although as I started digging into it, I start to felt like maybe I had looked at this once a while back. And maybe their website just looks a little bit different now. I don't know. I searched through my videos. I didn't see that I had done one on here. And I don't remember coming across one like this. So it's kind of an interesting site. If you go through there, how it works and everything, they are very much like a arrived homes, or, Landa type model where it's the company, has the people that are out there buying the properties, and they convert that property into a security, or the property ownership into a security, and then they sell you securities and you get paid a dividend. So all that, very familiar, very much like, like arrived homes. And one of the things when I was reading through here, I noticed, they have their broker dealer that they use, and I was like, oh, that seems really like a really familiar name. And so I searched it, and it actually is. They're using the same broker dealer for their security stuff as what Arrived uses. Realbricks, I found this other one, Mansion, although Mansion Life um, stopped selling to unaccredited investors. Fund homes, so it actually pulled up quite a few. So there's uh, um, none of the other ones that I clicked on seemed like they were of any interest whatsoever. But I just thought that just seeing this familiar thing that is the same one that Arrived Homes use, it made me think to search them and see who else. I don't know. So I thought that's kind of interesting. I mean, so they are just, it seems to be very blatantly copying the model. They have actually pretty nice website with a lot of good videos. As far as like explaining things, I think it's from that aspect, it's a little bit better. Um, you'd think they'd let's see, but I want to show you. Yeah, we can look at some of the properties. They are all in uh, Omaha, Nebraska. I always have this guy in the way there. That's me. They've only sold one so far, and this is the one that's actually paying a dividend. And from the videos that I watched, it makes me think this happened like 6 or 8 months ago. I'm not really sure if something happened with the site because I was doing due diligence on them. I came across this YouTube video of an interview. You can watch this. This was, start investing in real estate with as little as $10. The Go-Gopreneur Network, I've never heard of, but she asked a lot of questions. The CEO's responses didn't give me a ton of confidence that he really was involved. It made me wonder, like, did they just have him because he is a real estate guy? And it made me wonder, did they just really have him involved to use his name because he didn't he didn't know what the minimum investment was on there. It seemed like he wasn't really clear about how you what the tax reporting looks like and that sort of thing. Also went onto their X page, and they have a number of videos, and I actually think it kind of looks like it's a staged interview. But if you listen to this question about oh, I don't think my computer actually gives you the sound when I do the screen record. I'm not sure if it does, so we'll see on this one. But anyway, if you watch this video, she asks him, can you explain the difference between using real bricks and a syndication? And based on his answer, I don't really think he knows what a syndication is. So it's back to, and she asked some other question about, do you look at a 2% rule or what do you look at? And he was like, well, we have experts for that. We have the real estate team. So a lot of the people that are, or at least him who is, when we look at the company, let me see, I'm kind of jumping around all over here now, right? let me go to their about page. I think that guy is this guy, although they look very different. But I think that's who it is. I'm not positive. But doesn't have any real estate experience as far as I could tell from reading that. And that's my main concern with a lot of these platforms is they don't. And this is the guy who's in the other video. He clearly does have real estate experience, but didn't seem to have um, the best grip on the platform. That's just my impression. I mean, you should watch that both of those videos. Neither of those are reasons that I would decide to not invest it on here. Um, one of the things there are a couple red flags though, and I want to point them out. So all of them are in Omaha, Nebraska. So first thing I did went to the Omaha, Nebraska Wikipedia page so I could look at some demographic data. If we're going to just go on a platform where it's the only place we can buy, I want to make sure we want to buy there. Really strong growth trend. I don't know what this dip here is, but I went to the count or the MSA too, and that doesn't show up in the MSA data. It's just straight growth. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Um, because of the really strong trend, it made me think I'd still be interested in this market. It is a relatively, it's not a huge MSA. Total numbers less than 1 million people, but I'm okay with that. Like, I think we've talked about before. As long as we have at least 100,000, it's a market that I'll consider. And then if it's, obviously I'm a big fan of bigger MSAs. If you've watched anything that whenever I talk about it, especially big and strong growing, but it's a medium sized and strong growing MSA, so pretty okay with that. But so then I started digging into these properties. There's some issues here, right? Like, so, okay, this is saying estimated dividend yield 9.2%. But I can see the monthly rent is 270 or 2,750 and the purchase price is 360. And we actually got to get back to this purchase price in a minute, but look at this. This makes me wonder. So, okay, 2,750 times 12, so 33,000. Divide that by the purchase price and you get basically your 9.2%, right? It's actually so even if you collected rent 100% of the year and had zero expenses, you wouldn't yield this 9.2 based on that purchase price with this monthly rent. So there's something going on with the math here that's not right. That made me worried right off the bat, especially because a lot of their videos they say, they expect the dividend to pay out between 5 and 6%, which I think is possible, but I'm skeptical of a lot of stuff based on what I've seen from this site so far. Um, I'm going to still go through everything because, like I said, just because I decide to not invest on some of these properties doesn't mean or some of the platforms doesn't mean I'm right. And so I just want to share all the things that I spotted about it that make me hesitant to want to be on here. And then, you can decide for yourself. So another thing, so okay, we had saw $360,000 purchase price, but your equity raise is 400,000. Well, what else are we paying for? Okay, zero improvements, closing, offering, and holding costs. Okay, well, I love a lot of these sites are lumping this together, right? They're saying the closing costs, the holding costs, but then also the cost of offering the shares for investment. Well, I'd love it if they pulled that out separately because then it would let me compare this to, okay, what if I just bought that property, right? Because my closing costs, if I'm buying a $360,000 property, are not going to be $18,000. And so I'd really like to see that called out. And almost all of these sites that are doing this kind of similar model seem to lump it in there. And then they also got their, a sourcing fee, 21,600. So what is that as a percent? So let's see, 21,600 divided by 360. Yes, so they're charging a 6% sourcing fee on top of, there's already, that's not a real estate commission. Sometimes when you see a similar percent, people get confused there. But no, that's not the real estate commissions. That's actually paid for. They show that somewhere else. So that's a pretty hefty payment to them to just go through and buy a property, right? That doesn't include the costs of the offering or anything like that, because that was lumped into here. That's a lot of money that we're paying. I think uh, it's got to be hard to overcome that and actually make a profit. So like if we buy this at 360, okay, but we're all in for 400,000. Well, how high does it have to get before we actually make a profit to sell, right? I mean, you need a very strong appreciation. In addition to that, so they talk about, okay, you've got a property management fee. This looks like it's being paid to a third party. Although where it's at 8%, that might 100% go to a third party, but I think, some of these guys have negotiated lower management rates and then, basically take the difference. I don't know if that's what's going on here. I'm going to take them at their word, I think, where it says, uh, it's going to their property management partner, but now whether or not that, they have any relationship with them, who knows? But this assets under management fee paid quarterly blew my mind, right? So, um, assets under management, and this is, I think they tell you here, uh, quarterly based on an annual percentage of the property purchase price. So this fee, so they're basically saying, okay, um, 300 and 360,000 times 0.0075. So another 2,700 a year, um, that they're charging, just on top of, as their fee. And so they made a hefty fee to set it up originally. They're charging another, $200 a month, right? I mean, what did we just show there? Let me do that one more time. So 0.0075 times 360. Yeah, divide that by 12. You're over, $225 a month. Um, you're talking about another basically 10% of your rent almost, right? And it's not quite, but I mean it's close. Um, you know, so you very clearly this 9.2% isn't accurate. It seems tough that you're gonna even get to that 5 or 6% unless just absolutely nothing goes wrong. They do have, when you click on these, they bring you to their SEC pages, so like you can see, um, what their use of proceeds are, and they have it, for each series. So like this is the Blanton. I don't know. I don't think that's the one I have open. Um, so let me actually just click these and open them. That's it. Did it again. Cedar Ridge, Dalmore, the Stag series. So this is the series that we're looking at. They break down the numbers here just like we were looking at before, where the proceeds are going. So okay, this is 90%. So all this other stuff is another 10% on top, right? Their sourcing fee, it says 5.4%. But they're saying 5.4% of the total. When you look at it as compared to the purchase price, it's 6%. So that's, one of the things. Um, One thing that I couldn't find, and I'm not saying they don't have it, I just couldn't find it, was their math on how you get to the dividend, right? Because I could find what their management fee is. I could find the rent amount, but so let's see, in one of the spots, they tell you the risk factors, just like they're supposed to. This isn't it either. I got too many tabs open now, so let me go through here. This just talks to you about the business itself. So then you have this property overview for each section in here, and so you can go down and find, okay, we're looking at the Stag. This is where you get a decent property description. Um, I didn't even really notice it. Do we have it in here? Oh yeah, you do. Okay, 504. It's just not broken down like in a table or something. This is the way my brain works. I want to see it like this, right? Um, okay, so they are saying we're going to spend $2,000 on capital improvements. I didn't see it there, but then they're saying, okay, monthly interest expense expected on debt. Well, I didn't see anything about debt on here, right? I didn't see, it talking about there being a mortgage or that we're trying to get a levered return. Um, I don't know, maybe I'm having an off day and I'm missing it, but it looked to me, uh, yeah, they have mortgage amount zero, mortgage interest rate zero. Uh, so there's something, there's a little disconnect there. I don't know if maybe they're going to put debt on it later. If they'll do a refinance, I'm not really sure why that's off, right? But I mean, especially if you have but even and then this section, right? Like, okay, it gives us some info, but it still isn't breaking down your monthly expenses as far as like if I want to know or my annual income, however I want to look at it. But I don't see property tax, I don't see insurance. There's no vacancy collection loss. Like we're just not given any numbers to make me understand if this dividend is real. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure this dividend isn't real because when you look at, the math we just did, you'd have to have zero other expenses to get there. And even if you did that, you don't quite get there, right? So I mean, there's something wrong there. And then of course, you shouldn't be calculating your yield on the purchase price, right? You should be calculating it on the total investment because that's what your ownership fraction is based off of. So I don't know, that was a little bit off to me. Okay, gonna close this one there. Uh, and then and then there was one other thing. Like if you do watch this interview with that CEO and the other in some of their other videos, they talk about and we're the first ones. We have this secondary market where you can sell your shares. And first of all, I don't believe that they're the first one because that exists, right? Like I'm trading. Uh, with tokens, and maybe that's the distinction, right? Like the ones that I'm buying and selling on Lofty aren't security, so maybe that's why they're saying that. But that interview was months ago, and when you click on here to say trade your ownership shares, it's still coming soon, right? I mean, this is so it seems like and one thing is this, their website, you've got the 2025 on here. So, they don't have a lot of properties. Obviously, they're new. Although, like, if you look at their, how far back, when their Twitter page was made, how far back some interviews were done. I mean, it seemed like, earlier last year they were already making some claims about what they were doing. But they just have this one property out. I know it's tough to start a new business, and even if you're just kind of doing a copycat of somebody else's, um, I'm sure there's a lot for them to work out. But I'm always worried when companies are making promises and claims that they just it seems like they're not keeping up with, right? Like they tell you, oh, you can, there's videos that say you can trade on the secondary market, and then you click on the tab and it says, oh, that's coming soon. Um, that kind of stuff worries me. The numbers not adding up right worries me, right? Like this dividend just doesn't make any sense. Um, the fact that they want that the one that they sold out is like looks nothing like the other properties makes me curious about it, right? Like why this must be a condo. What is it? Yeah, condo, downtown Omaha. Same kind of price point. But it's like it makes me think that they just owned this already, maybe, and listed it for sale and did it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's perfectly possible that that's not what happened. But it's very weird that like your proof of concept property looks absolutely nothing like every other property you've got on there, and all the other ones, look like a similar product. So, that's the last thing. I think that sort of just a little bit weird, but all those things taken together, it's just not going to be a site that I'm going to invest on anytime soon. I will definitely follow them. I followed them on Twitter or X, and if anything changes, I'll try to follow up with that. Because I did, I did a little more research, obviously, than what I just showed you on the Omaha market, and I do kind of like it, so I wouldn't mind picking some stuff up there. Uh, I always forget to ask you to like and subscribe until the end, so sorry about that, but please do that. And also, all the sites that I am currently invested on, I've got links in the description below, except I don't think I've added Soul's Lot into my generic description yet. I did buy a little piece of one of their decks, so I need to add that. In any case, until next time, I'm going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.